AE Techron's 3110A is a powerful, yet simple to use, audio bandwidth standards waveform generator. It contains everything you need to generate any waveform. The 3110A comes preloaded with an extensive library of tests including hundreds of automotive and aviation standards. In this video, we will review the process of creating, editing, and using waveform segments with the 3110A. This is just a basic overview of the steps involved. Please see the 3110A help manual for more complete details and instructions. The main window is your workspace for creating a test. A test is made up of one or more wave and control segments. Let's get started and build a sample test. Clicking the Add Wave button opens a drop-down menu listing the types of waveforms that can be added to the test sequence. You can choose sine, ripple, DC, triangle, square, or sawtooth waveforms. We will choose sine for our first wave type, and you can see a segment is added to the test sequence and a wave properties window opens below. Adjustable properties include start and end amplitude, start and end frequency, start and end offset, amplitude sweep type, frequency sweep type, phase offset, offset sweep type, and duration. You can continue to add waveforms to the test by selecting them from the Add Wave drop-down menu. New waveforms will automatically be added to the right of the selected waveform. To reposition a waveform within the test sequence, click on the waveform in the display window and then drag it to the desired position in the sequence. To remove a segment from the test, simply press the X on the Segments tab. The Add Control button opens a drop-down menu listing the types of controls that can be added. These controls allow for the creation of complex, repetitive, or incremental wave sequences. You can choose from trigger, fixed loop, variable loop, template, GPIO output, or LAN output. In this tutorial, we will highlight trigger, fixed loop, and variable loop segments. The trigger control will cause a running test to pause and wait for an input that will release the trigger. To create a trigger within a test, select the trigger option from the Add Control drop-down menu. A trigger icon will be added to the active test sequence. Drag the trigger icon until it is positioned where you want the trigger to occur within the test sequence. Select the Trigger tab and change the trigger type property to one of three trigger types: user, GPIO, or LAN. The fixed loop control function allows for any number of waves or control segments to be repeated. The number of repeats is determined by the loop count property. The properties of the waveforms within the fixed loop will remain the same each time the waveform is repeated. To create a fixed loop within a test, select the fixed loop option from the Add Control drop-down menu. Two control icons, fixed loop start and fixed loop end, will be added to the active test sequence. Drag the waveform to be repeated so they are positioned between the fixed loop icons. Select the Fixed Loop Start tab and enter the desired number of loops in the loop count property. The variable loop control allows you to create a repeating waveform or waveform sequence with one or more waveform properties that are changed on each loop cycle. Up to 4 of the following waveform properties can be set as variables within a single variable loop: start amplitude, end amplitude, start frequency, end frequency, start offset, end offset, and duration. The variable loop control has all of the functionality of the fixed loop, but adds the ability to automatically change the test properties with each repetition of the test. Up to 4 separate variables can be defined and multiple variables can be assigned to properties in a single wave segment or across multiple segments as long as they are located between the variable loop start and end segments. Each loop can have a different start value, end value, and increment rate. The fixed loop and variable loop controls can be combined and nested to create complicated wave sequences. When you are done creating your waveform test, you can save it in your user library. Simply click the Files button in the upper right corner, click User Directory, then click the Save As button. Name your file, and finally click Accept. If you want to start with an existing test, click the File button and double-click the Standards Library directory. Navigate through the subcategories to find the test you want to load, and double-click to open. Make any required edits to the waveforms and controls to create your custom test. Then, simply save this custom file in your user library. Do not worry about overwriting an existing original test, as the standards library is protected from being overwritten. This concludes the tutorial for building and editing waveform tests. As you can see, the 3110A is a powerful waveform generator that is simple to use and easy to get started.